So here's what I know. 24 years of coaching people over the phone and face-to-face. This is what I know. You either create leverage or it is a life or death situation. You either create leverage or it's a life or death situation. So what Kathy and I just did is we created leverage. Give me a check payable to DNC and telling her I'm going to run Facebook ads to everybody in Canyon Lake, California. That would basically kill your business, in case you were wondering. You with me? Because I know how conservative that area is, and they would just be like, oh, Kathy, we didn't know. You need to leave. And that leverage would be enough. I had 36 agents at one point that I was coaching personally, and I made them a challenge coming up to an event like this. I said, for 90 days, I'm asking you to do a set number of contacts every day to your database and everything else, and you have to report in every day. And if you miss, I'm throwing this little cocktail party just for my friends, kind of like what I'm doing tonight for all of our coaching members. And I said, I'm going to throw this little cocktail party at my house in the desert, and we're all going to hang out, and I'm going to have steak and lobster and cocktails and fun, and we're going to be networking, and you're going to have done your prospecting for 90 straight days, and you're just going to feel so unbelievable. But if you miss one day of prospecting, if you miss one day of checking in, you're still invited to the party. But here's what's going to happen. I'm going to have cans of cat food in the corner. And we're all going to be sitting there, sipping on a cocktail, having a glass of wine, having a soda water, having fun. And I'm going to pull you out and say, Saul, could you come over here? Oh, and Saul, you're going to eat the canned food in front of all of us. While we're enjoying steak and lobster and all these yummy things, you're going to be eating, and I don't mean like the dry stuff. I mean like the wet stuff. You with me on this? And there's no Tabasco sauce, baby. You're going deep, and you got to finish the can. And guess what happened? 36 people that year, not a single one missed a single session. And by the way, guys, that group, still on record as an average of my clients, had the biggest performance increase. Because what do you think happens if you talk to 10 people a day and do your 5-5-4s basically for 90 straight days leading up to a conference out of fear of cat food? You with me on this? Fear of cat food. And the cat food bet became legendary. And guess what? I'm like this kind of guy. I actually sent them cans of cat food in the mail. You with me? So they all get this special package from Tom Ferry, and they're all excited, and they open it up, and it's like, cat food. And it was like, leave this on your desk as a daily reminder. Make your calls or eat it now. Bam, on their desk. And I would leave voicemails for them, like, hey, man, because they would call and tattle on each other. It was awesome. Like Joe D and Ty, Ty would call me, hey man, it's like 8:30 at night and Joe hasn't made any of his calls yet. And I would just call Joe and get his voicemail because there was no way he was answering. I'm like, hey Joe, it's Tom. Meow, 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 meow. And I'm telling you, like at 10:15, he would call me back and say, I just broke every law on the planet. I was making phone calls until 9:30, but I got my number. Screw you, click. Not gonna eat the damn cat food. Exactly. So leverage is powerful, yes or yes, guys? So maybe at the break, figure out how are you gonna create more leverage? How are you gonna up your accountability, up that cadence? But the other one, I gotta tell you, the one over here, where you make it life or death, that's where shit gets real. This is where I see the biggest breakthroughs. Who has ever been river rafting before? Raise your hands, I'm just curious. Did you like it? Was it fun? Okay, so how about this? Who knows Jackson Hole? Do you guys know Jackson Hole, Wyoming? I'm in Jackson Hole, Wyoming 4 years ago. And I'm super pumped. So my kids would have been 4 years younger, so 18 down to 14 and 12. And my buddy, the Coles, Claude and Michelle, my goddaughter Ava, and Ellie, all the same ages as my kids. And I called down to the concierge of the hotel and I said, hey, I'd like to take my family river rafting. And the guy said, sure, there's lots of availability. And I said, that would be great. So I'd like to book, for the 8 of us to go together. And they're like, yeah, okay, great. I said, is it good? He goes, oh, it's really good right now. I was like, awesome. I'm thinking like shorts, tank top, hat, in the sun, right? He's like, it's really good. You're gonna have a great time, man. Click. We show up, they take us in a bus, whatever, and we drive down the Snake River, and we show up, and the first thing I notice is no one is there. I was like, wow, no one's here. And I walk up and I find our guide, and she's, I don't know, she's maybe like this tall. She's wearing a helmet, and she's like, okay, you guys are going river rafting. Do you know what's going on? I'm like, no. I'm thinking like maybe there's some beer there. Like that's what I'm thinking. Like maybe I'm gonna get in a tube. And she's like, look, we gotta talk training. And I'm like, what's going on? She goes, the water's the highest it's been in like 22 years, which means it's going faster than it's ever gone ever. And I'm like, looking at my children, looking at my wife, and my kids are like this. Like, this sounds like Disneyland. This is gonna be awesome. We go over, and this gal is like, this is basically the coaching we got. Listen, in the boat, do as I say. If the boat flips over, please hold on to something. That's like the first two things she told us. Do everything I say, and if the boat flips over, do as I told us. I'm like, what do we do if it flips over? She's like, hold on for dear life. My wife is now looking at me going, why are we doing this? My buddy, who's just completely rambunctious and crazy, is like, this is gonna be awesome. His daughters are like this, we don't know if we wanna do this. So all we have is this energetic confusion going on with this very militant wearing a helmet. We're going on the water. She's wearing a helmet. Something's wrong in this picture. We get over near the boat, and we have to like get in the boat. She goes, this way, you gotta strap your foot in here, and you gotta strap your foot in here, and you gotta tell the kids, you gotta strap your foot. And then all of a sudden, this beautiful couple comes walking up, and they have to be 117 years old. And they're like, we're coming with you guys. And I'm looking at them like, you guys are gonna die. I don't even know what we're getting into. And like, the wife's like, I do this all the time. I'm like, okay. They teach us like how to get in and like we're not even in the water yet. I'm looking at the water and it is kind of going fast, but it's not like super fast. And I was like, that's no big deal. But our guide, right, call it our coach, if you will, for the day, here's what she said. So listen to me. There's like 6 times that all of a sudden the boat's gonna go like this, then it's gonna go like this, and then it's gonna go like this. And if you are not rowing your ass off, she's looking at my like 12-year-old goddaughter. If you're not rowing your ass off, everyone's gonna die. Little Ava's like, okay, can I have a helmet? And this woman is just telling, like, and this is, I said, wait a minute, listen, like, this is my family. Like, I don't want to die. She's like, you won't die if you row. Okay, I'll row. Where do you want me? Your front right, my buddy, your front left. Your wives are right behind you. Then the kids are in the back. The kids are in the back? And like the old couple are like, we'll take the back too. And all I'm thinking to myself is, if I don't row my ass off, my wife is gonna die, the kids are gonna die, and those poor old people are gonna die. And the gal with the helmet is clearly gonna live because she knows what the hell she's doing. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? We get out, and the water all slows down. And I'm looking at her. I'm like, what's the deal? She's, when I say row. And she's like, she's just so serious. I'm like, okay, but right now it's really nice. And like, the kids are suddenly getting up, and they're making the boat spin in circles. And everybody's like, this is totally fun. And then all of a sudden she goes, okay, when I say row, what are you gonna do? And the kids are like, row? And she's like, you're gonna row your ass off. Okay. And she looks up at me and my buddy Claude like, you guys got this? You're gonna row your, okay, we got this. And now like the water's still kind of calm, and then it starts to speed up, and then it starts to speed up, and then it starts to speed up, and all of a sudden we start doing this. And I'm rowing. And she's like, I'm left. She's like, left, row. Okay, I'm rowing. And then all of a sudden, guys, we hit the first big rapid. And I'm telling you, if you know the Snake River, you know what I'm talking about. We hit this thing, we bumped up, we went like this, and then I swear to you, I was looking straight down. And this is all I hear. Row! And I'm going, I'm gonna row into the bottom of the... And I'm just rowing my ass off. You with me on this? Exactly. And then the entire boat bent in half because we went like this. But in this moment, we were like that. And like my wife is hitting me in the back of the head while she's rowing. And just for the record, she's a tough-ass woman, but this is all I saw. Here was the water, here was her paddle. She was just rowing in midair. Because the woman's like, row, row, row. And then we start the climb. And I'm telling you guys, now I am looking like this. And all I'm thinking about is the old couple in the back. What the hell are they doing? And then I'm like, are my children's feet tied in appropriately, or are they gonna be stuck in this cavern that is just gonna turn like this? But what do? What do I have in the back of my mind? Left, you need to row. And I am just rowing and rowing and rowing. You wanna know why? Because in my mind, it was life or death. I didn't even have time to look back to see if they were okay. The only thing I could do was, and we make it to the top, and poof, and that's when I'm like, is everyone okay? And I look, and my sons are like this. My wife is white, and she's very Italiano, olive skin, and when you see an olive-skinned woman go white, you know something is wrong. I look at my buddy, and he is like, you better row harder, I'm going way harder than you. I'm like, okay. We went through 3 more of those situations. I'm telling you right now, guys, I rode my ass off. Do you want to know why? Because the people I love are that important to me. The people that were sitting behind me, they were my responsibility. And I took it upon myself to say, I am willing to row until I die to make sure they're okay. Now, what am I really saying to you? I want you to look at your buddy right in the eye, and I want you to scream at them, row! So, on Monday, when it's time for you to follow your schedule, what do you say? Row! And then you gotta do your, right now, I'm determined, I'm powerful, I'm unstoppable. But here's the best part. You ready? The guide at the end of it comes up to us and she says, you guys are pretty coachable. I thought you were all gonna die. And I was like, wow, thanks. I'm thinking about the Yelp review I was gonna write for her. Not super motivating, I think, but we didn't die. And she said, it's a funny thing. When you pour yourself into something, it could be a life or death situation. You make it because you made it because you gave it everything you got. And when you think about the disciplines you just wrote down and the perfect day you just wrote down, what is my expectation of all of you? I can't hear you. I can't hear you. Do you love the people you love? Are they worth rowing for? Are they worth fighting for? So when you think about these disciplines aren't just like, wow, Tom, I'm a free person. I like to do whatever I like to do, and whatever happens, happens. And I'm like, how much money do you have in the bank? None. But I'm hoping some shows up soon. We're living in the single greatest real estate economy we've seen, my friends, in 100 years. It's never been as better as this. And what I'm asking you to do is not be soft and start to row. You with me on this? I'm asking you to step up your game, and whether you're like my client Maxine, who's 80, who's like, I gotta make more calls, I gotta do more of that, and I love it, right? You know what she says? It keeps me young. It keeps me vibrant. The deals, the fun. She dances 3 hours a day. She goes to all those baseball games, but she works her butt off. You wanna know why? Because what we do really is fun. So do me a favor, look your buddy right in the eye and say, I promise to row. My advice to you now is put yourself in coaching. How many of you think if you talk to someone like me every week, you might do a little better in your business? What do you guys think? 100%. So listen, we would like to apply for the job. We have 151 insanely great business coaches. Put yourself in coaching today or tomorrow. Go do it right now. Hey, it's Coach Tom Ferry. Have you been considering hiring a coach? If so, click the link below and check out what we do.